Tyeb Mehta was a quiet, introspective artist who produced art that was as subtle and nuanced as it was powerful. His 5-decade career was defined by the evolution of his painterly imagery through a deliberate and focused selection of subjects. Among these, the Trussed bull has held special significance as a powerful expression of the violence and anguish inherent in the human condition. It featured in his earliest works, including the one you see here, his first major painting of the subject created in 1956. Coming full circle 50 years later, it also appeared in one of his final completed canvases in 2007. Tyeb's fascination with the bull began as a student, when he would visit slaughterhouses in Bombay and sketch the bound buffaloes and bulls awaiting their fate. He was struck by the stark contrast between the raw power and virility that they were known for and their brutal subjugation. These experiences affected him so intensely that he later shot part of his award-winning 1970 film Kural at the same slaughterhouse in Bandra, calling the 3-minute sequence the most poignant part. In 1954, Tyeb encountered the Trussed bull again in an Egyptian bas-relief at the British Museum in London, where he was living at that time. The image struck a deep chord with him. The Trussed bull became a powerful conduit for him to express the horrors of the partition of India, traumas that had haunted him since witnessing them firsthand as a young man in the late 1940s. The remarkable sophistication of this painting lies not only in the potency of Tyeb's imagery, but also in his ability to distill his subject to its most essential form. He renders the bull with thick, precise black lines, echoing the style of his drawings from the same period. The thick impasto color fields highlight the equal importance he accorded to color, space, and structure. This emphasis later evolved into flat, fractured planes of color that became a defining feature of his style from the late 1960s onwards. By favoring self-restraint over unbridled expression, Tyeb creates a palpable tension between freedom and confinement on this canvas. The image of the Trussed bull carried both a personal and a broader social significance. It served as a metaphor for the artist's own sense of stagnation and entrapment, as well as for humanity's failure to fulfill its potential. At its core, it spoke to the struggle of breaking free from the constraints of the oppressive society in which the artist was raised, and more broadly, of a newly independent nation grappling to forge an identity of its own. As powerful as the image of the Trussed bull is, Tyeb's paintings are never overtly gruesome. His depiction carries a sense of formal detachment, which, as critic Ranjit Hoskote notes, conveys resilience in the face of trauma. The paradox of suffering rendered with restraint is what makes his work so compelling. In the following decade, during the 1960s, Tyeb introduced another seminal motif to his oeuvre, the falling figure. Whether human or animal, these figures are distinguished by their fractured forms, suspended in a state of free fall, their faces frozen in horror. His earliest painting of this subject, completed in 1965, earned him the gold medal at the inaugural Indian Triennale in New Delhi in 1968. That same year, Tyeb traveled to New York on a Rockefeller Foundation fellowship, where his exposure to color-field abstractions like Barnett Newman reshaped his artistic approach. He abandoned his expressionist style in favor of sharp, flat planes of color and a deliberate apportioning of space, elements that became hallmarks of his paintings for the remainder of his career. By the late 1980s, Tyeb began morphing the falling figure with that of a bird, a flurry of limbs and feathers that merged into a strange composite creature. The transformation reaches its peak in the present lot from 2006, one of the very last paintings he created. The intertwined forms here seem to simultaneously separate and merge, achieving a dynamic equilibrium. This internal harmony contrasts starkly with the anguish frozen on their faces, heightening the emotional intensity of the scene. Alongside his diptych of twin bulls and a blue falling bird from the same year, this work is part of a trio of paintings inspired by Italo Calvino's 6 Memos for the Next Millennium, a series of lectures that profoundly influenced Tyeb. In his first memo, Calvino speaks of a lightness of being attained through deep introspection, an idea that resonated with Tyeb's own artistic evolution. By this stage, he felt that he had reached a breakthrough in refining his painterly image. After 5 decades, he believed he had finally mastered the balance of form and color, distilling them to their purest essence. Stripped of the vibrant color fields that had defined the artist's work since the late 1960s, this painting is striking in its minimalism. Yet, even in its pared-down form, it leaves a powerful impact. Through the simplicity of line, Tyeb conveys a profound sense of unease, a figure caught in flux, simultaneously soaring and plummeting, rendered powerless by the inevitability of fate. Reflecting on this painting, artist Krishan Khanna, a close friend of Tyeb's, captured the immense significance of this pivotal moment at the culmination of his extraordinary career.
मैं तैयब की ख़ास बात करता हूँ कि तैयब ने काफ़ी मुश्किल ज़िंदगी काटी, बहुत मुश्किल, और साल काम तो करता रहा। इसने कभी किसी से कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ नहीं किया, अपनी जो दिल की सच्चाई थी उसको पूरा कायम रखा है आखिर दम तक। और क्या आदमी था। बाकी तो पेंटिंग तो होती रहती है, लेकिन ये जो आखिर में इन्होंने 3 पेंटिंग की हैं जो एक मोनोक्रोमैटिक है। अब लोग सोचेंगे इन्होंने रंग ही छोड़ दिए हैं, छोड़ी नहीं, रंग को अलहदा किया। लिहाजा ये जो पेंटिंग इन्होंने अब की हैं जो ब्लैक एंड वाइट है ना, इसकी इतनी रिडक्शन, इतना बड़े दम का काम है, ये कोई ऐसे छोटे मोटे मामले का मैं तो बहुत कायल हूँ पेंटिंग को देखने में। बेहतरीन और इसकी हलीम इतना कि जिस वक्त उसने ये की तो कहता मैं अब शुरू करने वाला हूँ पेंटिंग। ये बात ये एक सच्चा आर्टिस्ट कह सकता दूसरा।
From his earliest Trussed bull to his falling figure, Tyeb Mehta's potent iconography, meticulously refined over decades, continues to resonate, evoking the internal struggle between freedom and fate. Bid on these seminal paintings by Tyeb Mehta and other works by leading modern and contemporary artists at our 25th anniversary sale on 2nd and 3rd April 2025.